Welcome to the Vet S.O.S podcast. Remember, don't drown to see a transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline. Today, we're sitting down with a veteran advocate who hosts a couple of podcasts and has dedicated his life to giving a voice to the voiceless. Should be a great show. Excited to hear about the work he's doing and hopefully finding some new shows to watch and check out while you're at it. I'm joined today by my co-host, Keith. We're lucky to get him in here between rehearsals for the World Yodeling Championship. How you doing today, Keith?
Oh man, I sing like an amputee. I can't hold a note and I can't carry a tune. But it's good to be here. I don't know how I got into the Sakal Championships, and it's funny. I like that intro that you used on. They were doing the Unsung Veteran. I see the tie-in there. That's witty. I'm good, Sean. How are you? John's already like, let me out of here.
Oh my goodness! I try to be creative, right? And try to come up with stuff that I can deliver with a straight face, but I'm so bad at it. Like every time I read these, I'm laughing before I even get to them because I know what's coming. I haven't reached the ultimate goals. I want to have picture depictions of all of these too. So
get Chat GPT to create some images.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, let's move on from your yodeling.
Right.
Yeah, today we're sitting down with John Smith. He's a retired Master Sergeant with 20 years of service in the Marines. He served as a tactical air defense controller and deployed to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. Outside the Corps, he's a Christian, a husband, and a father. He currently hosts the Unsung Veteran, a podcast and YouTube channel built around honest veteran conversations. We're excited to jump into this. John, so excited that you joined us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just happy to be here. When you hear your introduction, oftentimes you don't, especially I'm kind of new to the game. I'm like, oh, did I do all that?
Yeah, it's always that between hearing someone read a bio about you and hearing your own voice on the podcast. Like if you go back and watch your own recordings, that part bothers me still. And we've been doing this for 4 years.
That's why I don't go back and watch the podcast.
I forgot you need to start doing some editing.
Yeah, I feel like that's like I've only been doing this for a couple months, but I feel like that's like the hardest part is going back and watching it and then realizing all the I said and all that stuff, and gotta take that stuff out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't worry about it too much. I like the conversations to be natural, and it is what it is. But I guess there's an argument to be made either way. But we've been doing it this way for 4 years. So I don't think we're going to change it now. All right, so let's start with your transition story, man. Tell us how your transition out of the Marine Corps went.
I mean, I think it went pretty successfully. I took a lot of advice from people that went before me, so I made sure that I always tell people it's start early. Like about 2 to 3 years before I retired, and I knew the date was coming, I started making contacts with businesses, getting business cards, asking other people who'd retired before me, what did you do? How do I prepare my family? Stuff like that. And so when it came time to retire, even though it was still very stressful, I felt prepared, more so than I wouldn't, because I had points of contact. I had buddies I could reach out and call to. I had my interviews ready and lined up. I had medical appointments that I needed to go to get my disability claim. So I would say mine was pretty successful, but it's only because I took the advice of the guys that went before me and I didn't go, oh, I got it.
You're wise beyond your years, my friend. This is the exact same thing I did. Honestly, I had a buddy, same rank, same time in service, essentially was 6 months ahead of me in the process. So I just jumped on his coattails. I'm like, oh, whatever you're doing, I'm doing. And that's how I got started. We say it all the time, you can't blame the chain of command because they don't know. They've never done it, and for some reason we still don't get the message in well enough that, hey, you need to reach out to the veterans because they've done it. They know what they're doing. They know what worked, what didn't work, so hopefully we can continue to spread that message and actually penetrate the active force so that they understand. I mean, we got 40,000 plus veteran support organizations of people just waiting to help you. But no, I'm glad to hear your transition wasn't that bad. Typically, I would say the majority of our interviews, most people have had a bad transition and then turned it around at some point. That's fantastic. So, all right, well, let's jump into this podcast, man. Let's start with what the podcast is and what you're trying to do with it.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think it's still in its early phases. But in short, it's just veterans talking to veterans. I think, uh, to me, I think everybody has a unique story or experience that they can tell and capture. And believe it or not, they may not think their story might help somebody, but what I find is their experience, their story may touch somebody else and really help them out.
Completely agree.
So,
There's so much power in our stories.
yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of where I started. Like, it's, I've told my starting story a couple of times, but I think it's very unique and important. Um, yeah, my transition's good. I have a phenomenal job. I'm in a military government contracting job, and for all the military government contractors out there, it's a good job to have. I mean, I work remote from home. I got to travel a lot. I'm on travel right now. That's why it looks like a hotel room behind me, because that's what it is. Um, but what comes with that job and that time is contracts end. You got to, constantly re-up your resume, uh, points of contact. You don't really, if your contract gets unfunded, then you're looking for a new job. So there's that stress in that too. So um, I turned to prayer one night going like, do I need to get out of this contracting realm and go into, another field that doesn't, have the same stress? And uh, oftentimes I feel like you pray for one thing, but you get answered with another. And I felt compelled to talk to veterans, and doesn't pay the bills, you know, adds extra time to my day. Now I'm editing videos, reaching out to others, trying to get them on the podcast, saying, "No, really, I just want to hear your story. You don't have to have anything compelling to say. I want to hear your experience." And you know, but I really enjoyed it. I'm compelled to do it, so it started with prayer, uh,
Yeah,
which to me is like a unique experience in itself. When I
yeah.
tell people that, like, you're crazy, and I'm like, well, that's what I did. So
Well, Keith was bragging in an earlier episode about cashing the checks that I write him, so it must pay something. But
Bought a new house with it.
Keith and I have talked about this very point that you just brought up, though, and I, what I think you're finding is that doing this becomes therapeutic for you and
oh
for
yeah.
your guests. I mean, because once a month, Keith and I get to sit down with a handful of people and talk through this, and it's become such a therapy thing for me. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith?
No, I think it's absolutely vital. And I'm just kind of curious. I don't even know if any listeners are out there interested in starting a podcast, but you know, this show's been going for about 4 years now. I don't know if that's considered like successful at this point, but you're still fairly green, if you will, or young in your journey. Like what's been like the one most shocking or unforeseen obstacle you've experienced in trying to get your podcast started?
Um, so I had some pretty early successes, but I think it was because like family support, friend support, like jumped in and started watching my videos. So I was like, and again, I wasn't looking for clout, but seeing like the views go up, and I was like, oh, this is good. And of course, once your friends go back to their lives and their families go back to their lives, then your videos kind of downward spiral or whatever it is. And, uh, uh,
Downward
and
spiral.
whatever it is, right? Or what, you don't see
YouTube
the same
purgatory.
successes. Yeah. I think that was enlightening, because then I'm like, well, that's not what I'm in it for. So don't hang up on that. I'm in it for the story, or the one veteran I can help, or, and I'm compelled. So it's just trying to find the right niche is very hard. So like, and I have like my things staying, like the mission's the same. It's just the battle rhythm. You guys, it sounded like you said you do this once a month. I'm trying to figure out how not to overdo it, because
Mm.
veterans, I think we do work hard, and we do, once we get passionate about something, we jump in head first, and over times we'll overtake on too much and kind of side quest. So like early on, I was literally like scheduling 5-6 days a week, trying to get anybody and everybody I can have on. What I found, I was like not doing things I need to do. So then I had to pull it back a little bit. And now I'm still trying to find that right battle rhythm to get the right guest on, to get the right story forward, to still have time for my family and my work, but also still enjoy this and love what I do. There's no quitting me. I'm just trying to find that right,
Yeah.
that right battle rhythm to go on it.
I think you have to find a balance, right? And you got to figure out what works for you. When we started this, my mentor was my co-host and co-founder, Mark. Um, the way they did it is they recorded all their episodes in one day. So we started that way. So the first Saturday of every month, we sit down and we record, up to 6 episodes. And that's always just worked for me. And that's what we stuck with. But each of my co-hosts for the different shows, we got 5 shows now, they all run their own schedule. So it's whatever works for them. One, he only records at 2:30 on Fridays because that's when he's available. Others are all over the place, so it really that's the biggest thing is figuring out what works for you. And, as Keith and I have talked many times, part of this gig is keeping mama happy too, and making sure that we're not stomping on family time and other things. So, and my wife's good with this once a month thing till about noon, and then I own you. You get back out here, and I keep mama happy. So, but I'm glad to see though that you're aware of that, right? Because it's a balance. You got to figure out, and not to mention you're balancing it against work, and all that fun stuff too. So, um, what what is in your if you could think about this entire journey, however long you decide to do this for, what would be a great thing to accomplish in your mind when it comes to helping veterans with your podcast?
I mean, to me, I've already accomplished it. I don't want to sound like, I've met what I needed, but like my goal initially was just to help others. So, and I've already had, people reach out in comments and say, thank God for this show. Like, who do I have on? I had this, and I'm up to, I can't remember every guest. I'm trying to remember her name, but I had this, one just recently. She had a hard name to pronounce. It was, well, it'll come back to me because I can't pronounce it. But she had a TBI, and we talked about her traumatic brain injury, and her story was phenomenal. She came back, she started being healthy, like everything the military taught her uh, was not healthy, and then once she was able to take care of her body, her health is way better. Um, and in the comments, another person was experiencing the same thing, and it led them to being helped. Stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm doing what I need to be doing. Um, I've been randomly walked up to, and again, I have like 99 followers. I'm like nobody. I started in, October, November, barely. I really picked it up in January of this year. But I had somebody randomly walk up to me, shake my hand, say, hey, I saw your show. It's great. Stuff like that. Like, that's where I feel like I just need to keep doing this because I already do what I need to do.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think that's the right answer, honestly. I mean, that's when we started this, that was the goal too. We help one person, this whole thing's been worth it.
Yeah.
And to hear from somebody that something you did help them, you can't put a price on that. You just absolutely can't. So, what do you think, Keith?
I think I need to come off mute. And my background gave out on me again. Speaking of podcasts, well, let's have a good internet connection. There's rule number one of podcasting. So I just moved and I'm still getting my internet connection configured properly
You're
throughout
going
the
to be
house.
using that excuse for like 4 months.
Well, when you release it one a week, I will at this point have been using it for 4 months. But since everybody knows that we record once a month now, it's not really live. Oh no, no, but so one of the biggest things I think in hosting a podcast or co-hosting, I'm just the sideshow. But all that to say is trying to kind of get past, like scratch past the surface, right? Or dig past the surface. So how do you prepare for a show, or do you prepare for a show, and like how do you kind of find those those questions that are going to maybe break past the surface because they may not want to talk past the surface kind of thing, to kind of get down to the nit and gritty.
Oh man. Uh, I'm going to tell my secret, but it's not really a secret because anybody who comes on my show can really know the truth is I don't prepare. I
Neither
generally
do I.
no, yeah, no, I like the porch style, like veteran style. Like if we're sitting at a
Sure.
bar enjoying a beer or like whatever it is, hey, I just met you. I think veterans inherently we have the same goal and same mission. We're all, well, I mean, we in my day, and I can only speak for my generation. I know some of the older generation, we all volunteered to serve, so we already have a server's heart. So it's really easy to just open an ear. Hey, what do you want to talk about? Listen to them, and then generally listen and then ask questions from there. And I think, like you said, like I don't have a transcript. I don't have questions prepared. I'll have like their bio, what they want me to read, because I think that's respectful and stuff like that. But
Sure.
after that, it's open. It's open season, and I
Open
think
mic night.
to me it's more interesting, personally, but also it doesn't feel fake because it is fact not fake. I have nothing. Like there's nothing there behind the door.
Yeah, it's genuine. That's pretty much how we do it. So
Yeah, I think there's like you said, to keep that conversational style, to me means so much because I think it's more authentic. I think it's more legit, and we tell everybody you never know. My chair rocking, I can see you smiling. Um, the the goofy stuff like this that happens, it's like it's real life, so it makes it more relatable, right? And then having that conversation, it doesn't sound planned. It doesn't sound written out, like we're reading off a script. Obviously, we have some script stuff that we read at the beginning and the end in your bio or whatever, but it's like getting into the conversation and just keeping it just a couple of guys hanging out talking. I think it just comes across so much better,
yeah,
you know. And you never know where it's going to go, which kind of makes it exciting and scary at the same time.
yeah.
Yeah, I had an older Marine on, a Vietnam vet guy, and he was talking about his time in Vietnam, and he actually shared. He opened up. It went, it went to a point where he had described some pretty graphic battle stuff, uh, and then he, things he had to do during battle, which I'll keep if you want to go back and watch it. It's one of my episodes with the Vietnam guys. But then he even talked about having PTSD nightmares and, you know, making a mess in his bed. And I'm like,
Mm,
wow, he's really sharing. I think that's important because veterans live that life and he was open to share it. But had I had like a suitcase question, like how do you deal with PTSD and blah 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 blah, I don't think I would have got there, to be honest with you. Um, and that's okay. Like that's fine. What is difficult, and if anybody's interested in doing a podcast, is when you don't have no agenda, then you're trying to if you're trying to reach clout or like an algorithm, YouTube doesn't know what you're doing because every episode's different. So you're probably not going to get it. But the veteran that's looking for you and they're searching up that one term, like, hey, I'm dealing with brain injury or PTSD or whatever it is, they're going to find you and hopefully they can get the help they need. Just listen to that story. So,
I like that. So
nice.
how are you trying to differentiate your stuff like on YouTube and what have you to where people can find it?
uh,
Sp-
yeah, it's
Spray it and
like a,
pray.
I'm, I'm shooting at the barrel. So I'm kind of a nerd. So I do a lot of stuff with, AI and, automation, not for editing or doing my own stuff, but like just, I've built some, agents and AI. So I have an IT background too. So where it'll do a deep search on the internet and find what's like, popular searches based off of the topic of my interview. So I'll drop the transcript in there. It'll read through my transcript, find out like the main agendas things. It does a deep search, and then it gives me title ideas and hashtag ideas, so I could throw it in there, and hopefully that can help a little bit. I've seen it help a lot with my shorts. My shorts are really, uh, doing really well, but the shorts are just clips of my long form, so hopefully it'll get back to that. But again, I'm not really worried about that because that wasn't my main goal anyway. I think when I went into this, it was just build a community, have stories that are captured forever. Hopefully, families can go back and watch their veteran talk. Somebody can find something that's helpful to them. And, like I said, just help one person. I'm doing fine. And like I said, I've already met that goal and I want to continue to do it. I still have a passion to do it. I don't see myself quitting anytime soon.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we talked about the audience that we reach and the help it does for them, and we've even touched on the the help that is for us, right? The therapy that that we get out of hosting and co-hosting. And what sort of therapy have you seen or therapeutic results have you had with your guests? Because I know the power of just vocalizing some of that stuff has got to be fairly releasing.
No, I get therapy every time. Like I said, for me, because I'm a Christian, I get really passionate. Even now, like I get really passionate about it. Um, I know early on, I was talking to, so I started out, and I don't know if everybody does this, but I started out with, of course, my friends who agreed to get on. God bless them. I don't even think they wanted to. They were just supporting another friend. My very first episode, he works with me, my buddy Leroy Williams, retired Master Guns.
I thought you were gonna say
Uh,
Leroy Jenkins. I was really
no,
hoping you were gonna say
Leroy.
that.
Leroy.
No. He was great. And then I had another guy on who I served with, Jason Mancola. And it's easy for me to remember their names because, I served with him. So I go back and what I found out talking to him is we served my last duty station together, and we were there, and he did like 27 years, I want to say. I did 20, got out. I didn't realize it, but we were deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom together on the same base, you know, 15, 20 years before that. And so we're talking about this event, and I was like, wait a second, I was there. And he's like, well, you were. And it's just such a small world. And um, it brought back like emotions that I hadn't even thought about. And I was like, and it there were events that I had never dealt with.
Mm,
So stuff like that. Yeah, it's very therapeutic.
yeah.
Now, are you seeing the same result with, like, your guests? Or are they having those same types of reactions that
I'll
you
be
know?
honest with you. So, and I don't want, because I mean, obviously, and for the viewers out there, there's websites out there that can hook you up with guests, and I feel blessed because if I went through a part where I wasn't getting guests, and I had to find I was having a hard time getting people on, and I still kind of struggle with that because I'm a new channel, and so I reached out to a website called Podmatch, and that's how I found you guys to have me on here too. Um, and there'd be veterans coming on to, sell a book or sell a business or whatever. And I definitely respect that. I know that's what they want to do. So of course I give them time to do that. But it's oftentimes hard to get past that selling mentality. I'll be honest with you. I had this guy, Ethan, I want to say his name was Ethan Poling on. And I bring him up because I do think I got to him. He was he served in the National Guard. He was selling his website that were he wasn't doing very good at it. But every time I asked him a veteran question, he's like, well, I was only a reservist in the National Guard, and I didn't deploy, and I only did this much time, so I don't really consider myself a veteran. I was like, hold
Mm,
up, hold your truck. Like, you are a veteran. You volunteered, whether you deployed or not. And I was like, your experience matters just as much as somebody else's. Like, there could be another Ethan Poling out there that's struggling, needs to know your experience. What'd you do? I was like, and I kept, poking the bear. I was like, hey. And then what I found out, during this interview is he hadn't even tapped into the veteran audience for his business, which his business was buying businesses from retirees, like people who own businesses and they're retiring, they don't want to do their business anymore. I was like, guess what, brother? Veterans got access to VA loans. We got, income coming in from whether our retirement or disability that we can, and we want to invest in stuff that's already running, and you're not even tapping into that audience. I was like, hey, let's tap in. Like, you're a veteran. Let's tap in. And then I could see him in his, like, going, wait a second. And then he started opening up. He's like, yeah, I think I could do that. And, you know, yeah, to that point, sometimes it's tough. If I had like questions, it goes back to that like genuine conversation. If I had questions ready for him, I don't think I would ever got there. I'm trying to find out who Ethan is and what's his story,
Yeah.
not, hey, so I don't know. To me, it's sometimes it's tough, but it's, I can see it happening. And yeah, definitely, when it's therapeutic for others, it's really good.
yeah. How long are your episodes generally?
I do 60 minutes. I tried to the 30-minute platform too. I see you guys do 30 minutes or for the most part, but I do 60 minutes because I tried 30 minutes in the beginning, but I kept getting I felt like I was cutting some stories short.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give time. I don't mind if it's more or less. I've actually done some that's 1 1/2 hours. To me, 60 minutes is the magic, but if it's shorter, if it's longer, I'm just there to tell a
Yeah.
story. So it doesn't bother me either way.
Yeah, and we've run into that. There's been episodes that we've had that easily could have gone longer, and sometimes we bring them back for a second episode. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a balance, right? You got to figure out, not only what works for you, but what works for the product. And but no, I mean, I love it, and the fact that you are focusing on just veterans telling their story, and let me before I finish that statement. When you say telling their story, it's just the story about, their service. Like, there's no like, we focus mainly on transition and transition resources, but you're focusing basically on their service as veterans
Uh,
or all parts of life. What define that piece for us?
I honestly, I think that's the part that I probably don't advertise that much. I want to know the story of the person. Why did they join? How was their service?
Mm,
How was the transition? All the above. I want to get to know the person. Um, I think that's genuine in itself. Because if I get somebody on and say, "Hey, what do you want to talk about?" and they just want to talk about why they joined, or that first couple years in, but they don't really talk about the transition, fine. That's their story at that moment, and I wanna capture that because that's what's important to them. If it's the transition, I wanna capture that too. I think that's really important too. I do focus a lot on, "Hey, how was it for you getting out? Where are you at now?" Because I think I wanna know the person is now. What were your struggles? How have you grown? Where are you at? Are you still struggling? I
mm,
have talked to a couple people that I could see they were still struggling with a lot of stuff. Generally, when I say story, I want to know the person and
Yeah.
what was their drive, what was their service like, what was their transition, all the above. What is your family? Whatever they're willing to share, I'm open to hear it, and I'm open to have them tell that story.
No, that's good. And there's so many different aspects. Um, that go into the story, right? And it could be why they joined. It could be, what they struggled with getting out. It could just be some incident in their service. So I love the fact that you keep it open and really focus on the person and what they want to talk about. So, no, I think that's
yeah.
important. And the fact that we continue to find ways to share stories from veterans and in many cases reframe the conversation because the what's the first question the media asks when there's a school shooting? Are they a veteran? It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
time out. I mean, I
Mhm.
got it. We were trained with weapons, but that doesn't equate one to one. So but I think it's important that we find ways to reframe things because we all struggle with stuff, right? But the thing I found with veterans is we're more open to talk about what we've struggled with versus some of these people that are struggling in real life that were never veterans and can't vocalize it, can't talk about it, and what have you. And but I love it, man. I love the fact that you're doing it, Keith. I think it's important we continue to tell these stories.
Yeah. We've even looked at, well, you've looked at ways to do similar things, like setting up, yeah, just ways for people to tell their stories. I honestly think, John, you need to get a mobile station and just go on a national tour and visit the VFWs every Friday night and just let people come to your table and tell their story all night long, kind of thing. Like, you get so much content, like, and that's probably a little bit of alcohol infused storytelling, but it's probably more candid that way too. But I could totally see like a live on scene at the Norfolk, Virginia VFW kind of thing, live with veterans. But anyway, sorry, I'm spitballing. But we are at time. So yeah, we don't do the 60 minutes and we are unfortunately at time, John. But I do have to wrap this up. Before I do though, how do folks get in touch with you? How do they sign up to tell their story at the podcast or even if they want to support somehow, how can they get in touch with you?
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty easy to find. If you just go on YouTube and search the Unsung Veteran, you'll find the channel. My email is the same, theunsungveteran@gmail.com. I'm on Spotify and Apple as well. I was on Instagram. I'm still there. I just don't really post there that much. But any way you want to reach out to me, email, send me a message on any of those platforms. Yeah, I'll find a way to hear your story and get you on there. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for everything that you're doing for the veteran community. I mean, again, it's therapeutic for everybody. It's therapeutic for us. It's therapeutic for them telling their story. It's therapeutic for the listeners, and so much to be learned and garnered from other people's experiences. So again, thanks for coming on the show, John. Really appreciate what you're doing. And on behalf of the entire S.O.S family, we want to thank everyone for spending their time with us today. It's always great having you along for the ride. Don't forget to check out all of our other episodes and keep coming back for more stories, insight, and support from the Vet S.O.S crew. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow, share the show, and tell a friend or two. Toss your battle buddies, fire team, shipmates, and wingmen that flotation device they need in transition so no one drowns in the sea of transition. And as always, grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline.